Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about a scavenger bag, okay? We're talking long-term SHTF. You're out looking for supplies, things like that. What do you carry with you? What do you not want to carry with you? You don't want to have too many things. But first, I just want to say I started to make this video and my wife comes running out the house screaming. President Trump has just been shot in the ear, okay? As far as what I've seen on the news so far, it looks like 5 shots were taken at him. One of them grazed his ear. Guys, this is why I'm doing these videos, okay? We need to start getting prepared. We need to start looking at situations that are happening around us. If you're not already, I mean, the world is changing, okay? When I saw that on the news, I kind of felt like, I kind of knew a little bit about what people felt like when they first heard, JFK was shot or something like that. The last couple of years, guys, January 6th thing and all that, I can tell you exactly where I was and what I was doing when things like this were happening, okay? And these are the reasons why I started making these videos, all right? So I'm not gonna, go into all that right now. Obviously, we don't know a whole lot. Trump seems to be fine, okay? Whether you like the guy or not, you gotta understand these kinds of things are not okay. Even if it happened to Joe Biden, it's not okay, all right? So we need to start looking at the world around us, like I said. But anyway, I don't want to go off on that, all right? So we're talking about scavenger bags today. So you're going to be out looking for supplies. Your supplies are dwindling. Grocery stores don't have anything. Gas stations are empty. You're just out looking, okay? And we all know what it looks like. We've all seen The Walking Dead where they're out looking for canned goods and things and going through buildings and stuff like that. So I put together a bag, if you will, a sack of tools that I feel like might help you get through. And if you have any better ideas than I do, please let me know in the comments. I'm always glad to hear from you guys. So I'm gonna flip it around and I'm gonna check out what we got on the table, okay? All right, guys. So typically when I'm looking at something like this, I usually start off with my standard EDC as a portion of what I'm gonna be carrying with me for my get home bags and things. But honestly, your EDC is probably going to change. I mean, we're talking about, population decline, things like that. Everything has declined, has been degraded. Your situation is just going to be completely different. So your EDC is obviously going to be different. So I like to have a fixed blade knife whenever I can. Typically, when I'm not at work, I have one with me. So that's going to be part of that. And a multi-tool. A lot of times I carry a Benchmade folder, but I really like carrying my multi-tool, my Leatherman Wave. I love this thing. I've modified it to fit my needs, So anyway, that and a bandana and a flashlight, okay? And on top of that, and usually a spare magazine. But now I'm thinking probably an outside the waistband holster in this kind of a situation. You can go concealed if you want to. At this point, you want the easiest access to your firearm that you can get, okay? Keep in mind, you're not going to be the only one out scavenging. You don't know what kind of problems you're going to run into. Hopefully none at all, but probably will. So, but anyway, this would be like I feel like my standard EDC. I'll probably have a few more things with me. Who knows? You learn as you go, right? So we're not there yet, but one day we might be. All right. I want to talk about clothing for a second. So, depending on, any time of year, really, I usually, if I'm out in the woods or crawling around things or working or whatever, I typically don't wear shorts at all unless I'm just hanging out around the house or if I'm at the beach or relaxing on vacation or something. You got to think, you're going around looking for stuff. You're going to want to have, a pair of boots on in case you step on a nail or something. It's going to help protect you a little bit more. Long pants, poison oak, guys, bug bites. Mosquitoes tear my legs up. I can't stand it. Long sleeves would be a good option for the exact same reason. And also, you don't want to get scratched and things like that. It just adds a protective layer. You know what I'm saying? Hat, I would have something covering my head. And if you want to go completely incognito, want to hide yourself, maybe some camo that works for your area. Maybe even a face covering or something. Guys, I keep, a camo bandana in my pocket every day, all the time. So, many uses for a bandana. You can use it to put things in. You can use it to cover yourself. You can use it, to cover a wound if you had to. So one thing I don't have laying out here, I'm gonna go ahead and get it out of the way, is some sort of like boo-boo kit, a way to clean a wound and patch it up real quick. Because if you're going through buildings and old houses and things like that, looking for supplies and food and whatnot. You know, there's a lot of broken glass. The window on this building right here that I've been using, it's broken, it's old, I haven't fixed it yet. You never know what you can cut yourself on. If mice and other animals have been in there, you know, things get kind of nasty. You don't want to get an infectious cut, because that's going to cause you more problems down the road. You may as well have stayed at home, because your supplies are not going to help you. You just really, you got to look out for diseases and sicknesses and things like that. So, like I said, I don't have this laid out here. Just, I didn't want to carry all my stuff out here. But anyway, so starting this off, this should be everybody's kind of go-to before you even get a bag or anything. I think I want to include this in my EDC, because this is going to be on my belt. I carry this a lot when I am foraging for mushrooms and tinder and things in the woods. So this is a Maxpedition roly-poly. Guys, you can get things on Etsy. They call them, what do they call, like bushcraft bags or whatever. Anyway, it goes on your belt, okay? Now this one has Velcro on it, and they just kind of flipped out there, but it rolls down, opens up. This is the medium size that Maxpedition offers. It's got tensioner cords here, so you can cinch the top of it tight. It's got a drain hole in the bottom, drain grommet, you know, so moisture can wick out. These are handy little things, guys. We go out looking at the creek for arrowheads and flint and whatnot. Just anything that can just fit right there, you know, on your side, and you can just put stuff in it. Or, guys, you can put, you know, AR magazines, whatever you want in here, spent magazines or live ones. Just, my wife uses this thing all the time when we're fishing. So, and it just folds right back up, and, you know, it just rolls up on there. So these are really nice to have. I would like to have maybe two, one on each side, if it doesn't get in the way of my gun or whatever. So that's going to be a part of my EDC for this little venture. All right. This is probably going to be the only time that I will recommend carrying a machete over an axe to anybody in North America, okay? And the reason for that is you're not chopping wood, obviously. You don't probably want to be busting through doors and walls like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, okay? But the advantage to a machete is vegetation, cutting vegetation and having reach, all right? So this is a shorter machete. It's a kukri style, so an older cold steel machete. You may come up on a shed and it's been overgrown, okay? Weeds everywhere. There might be like a little snaky looking area that you don't really want to go into, okay? This is going to help you gain access, clear access to that, and see what's under that ground cover, okay? Or it might be wall cover. It might go all the way up. You might have a problematic animal like a snake or something. You really want to get in here. You don't want to have to deal with the snake. Just cut his freaking head off and go. The other advantage to a machete, this gives you a long-reaching melee weapon, okay? Now, say you enter an old storage building or a warehouse or something, and you know, you think you're the only guy around, and all of a sudden you find, or you hear a group outside, and one of the guys goes in, the rest of the guys are waiting outside. You've got a quiet weapon that could dispatch an assailant without alerting other people around and allow you to escape that building, possibly, hopefully. So another advantage to a long-reaching melee weapon, especially one that can be used for other things. So, like I said, I'm an axe guy. I always pick an axe over a machete, unless I was in the jungle or something, or if I'm just outside. If I wanted to cut down honeysuckle vines, I would get one of these. But most of the time, guys, I am an axe guy. So, pair of gloves along with the EDC / clothing. Good leather gloves. There might be briars around. There could be, you don't want to get splinters. You don't want to cut yourself on nails or anything else. Something might be burning or would have been burning and still kind of hot, and you need to move it out of the way. Good pair of leather gloves goes a long way. All right. A headlamp, guys, you should always have one of these, okay? Now, hopefully this hasn't been so long that you can't possibly find any batteries at all and your rechargeables will stop working and all that stuff. Never mind all that. Stock up on your batteries. A good headlamp, guys, hands-free light inside of dark buildings is the way to go. I absolutely love this flashlight, but if I need my hands, I'm going to go with this one. This one does have a reversible clip that I can clip onto a hat and work the same way, but it is a little bit heavy on my hat bill. if you're not wearing a hat, guys, you're gonna be, you're gonna want one of these. So obviously a headlamp. Okay, small bolt cutters. And the reason I say small is because we don't want to take too much stuff with us. We don't want to be over encumbered before we get out there. And you're probably going to be traveling shorter distances, okay? I mean, maybe not, who knows. But this right here, $7 at Harbor Freight. Yes, you can get some better ones if you want to. I just picked these up for this demonstration, and I didn't have a smaller pair. So this is more than adequate for cutting through chain link fence and gaining entry that way. You can cut smaller locks with this. If you want to cut larger padlocks, you're going to have to carry something that's going to be at least this long. And, you're going to be running out of room in your pack, okay? And we'll get the packs here in just a little bit, but you don't want to have all that weight because you're going to be bringing things home, like canned food, whatever you can find. So the more you take with you, the less you can take back, and you certainly don't want to dump your tools, in the place you're looking at. So, and then that would, leave note to somebody that's known that you've been there before. They might wait on you to come back. So then they might follow you home and take everything that you scavenged and had before. Small bolt cutters. These are, what are these? These are 12-inch. Like I said, $7, Pittsburgh brand, Harbor Freight. So, and if they crap out on you, you can probably find another pair somewhere. All right. Guys, a lockpick set. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you get one of these, you need to practice with it. I have been marginally unsuccessful. I've only had this thing for maybe less than a week. It's something I should have got a long time ago and put off for other things. $30 from CountyCom, okay? And first thing I want to show you, it comes with this clear lock that you can see through, and it works just like a lock, but you can see all the pins and chambers in it, okay? This is something that I think everybody should learn to do. It is not easy. Even with that lock, I've picked it one time successfully so far. I've only messed with it about 3 or 4 times, but I have spent some time with it. And you get a handful of different types of tools, rakes, picks. There's like a little type of tweezers in there, 2 different sizes of tensioner bars and things like that. I think it's pretty well made for the money, $30, And I'm sure that it will work on other locks and things. I just haven't been able to get there yet, but I've been practicing in the afternoons watching TV. So guys, like I said, $30, and it comes in this pretty decent little nylon pouch. Now if you want to get like a little small tool roll so you can roll it out and see the different picks and things in there as you're needing them, that would probably be a better option. So I'll probably do that and ditch this pouch later or keep it for something else. But anyway, CountyCom, guys, I really like some of their stuff out there. All right, now duct tape. If you buy duct tape, go with the duck brand. All right, I bought cheap duct tape and put it on something and watched it fall right off. It's typically thinner if you get a cheaper brand. The reason you want duct tape is, say you want to gain entry to maybe a door with glass panes in it, okay? But you don't want to smash that glass and bring attention to yourself by noise. And also, you don't want shards of glass everywhere for whatever reason. Put a couple strips of duct tape across that window, bust it out, reach in there, unlock the door. Or if you've ever been in a building where the door, you go through it and it automatically locks the other way, you don't want to lock yourself inside, or maybe you got to go outside and come back in. You don't want to lock yourself back out, have to pick the lock again. Take a strip of duct tape, put it around the little lock plunger on the door, and it holds the door open and lets it free float, okay? Much like the doors in like a high school or something like that, where you can turn the key in it and it keeps it back, or maybe at a church fellowship hall, things like that. Let it swing free, okay? Pull it back off when you leave and nobody knows you were ever there. So also, if you had to bundle something up really quick, or maybe tape something around your pack that you just don't have, the capacity inside your pack to deal with, you might could tape it around the outside in a pinch. So, and also cordage for that exact same reason. And also, you might be on the top of a building and you want to tie a length of cordage to your pack and lower it down. Or maybe you think some other people are around and you want to hide your stash that you just found. Maybe you could suspend it from a tree or something where maybe they won't find it. I always keep about 50 foot of paracord on me. You might want to go 100 if you live near like a city or something like that, they got tall buildings, you think you're going to be on the roof, you might want to lower some stuff down that you can't carry with you down a ladder. So at least 50 foot of paracord, I think. Now, we already went through the boo-boo kit thing. Binoculars. Whenever I do any kind of like local scouting or just anything, or in this situation, you might want to sit on, like, you might want to case the joint, you know. You might want to sit on a place or sit outside of a place and watch it for a little while. You might want to set up a little overnight camp or so. This right here, just a small pair of binoculars, is going to help you look in windows and around corners a lot better. A lot of time there's vegetation in the way, but if you zoom in past that vegetation, you can see things a lot better and just see if anybody's been there. Look for traces and signs, much like if you were hunting and looking for deer signs. So, and also maybe on your way back, you don't know if somebody's been following you or whatever. You think you hear something kind of off in the distance. One thing I didn't include in this right here, but you guys, if you watch my channel, you know I'm a big fan of a slingshot. So say you think some other people are in the area, and you know, you might throw a rock across the street and get their attention that way so you can escape. If you got a slingshot, you could shoot a rock or a marble or whatever a greater distance and get them possibly a greater distance away from you so that you can escape. So slingshots are always a really cool thing to have. Okay. Now, this is an air shim. If you're not familiar with these, so it has a bleed valve on it. If you've ever locked your keys in your car and you've had to put a wedge in there or pry the window down and reach in there with something and either pull your keys out or hit the lock button or pull the lock up or whatever, this will help you to not have to go through all that trouble. This has, I believe it's an aluminum plate inside of it, and it's still malleable to an extent, but it's stiff enough that you could force it up to the top of a window in a car and you can pump it, okay, and it inflates. And this will hold up to 150 pounds of pressure. The next size up is 300. I like this one because it's small, but that would give you, we're looking at maybe 2 inches of gap in a car window without having to bust it out and bring attention to yourself. And then you could stick something in there, sometimes a green tree limb on the other side of the other car door on the other side, and you could hit that button and possibly unlock the car. So, and then you could just let the air out. And these will kind of self-inflate slightly. So, but it doesn't take up a whole lot of room in your pack, okay? All right, a dust mask, which is something that I don't have with me. I have a paint respirator around somewhere. I can't find it. Either one of those or like an N95, because you got to consider, like I said, when you're going through buildings and there may have been raccoons or mice or something in there, they poop and pee on everything, and you got dust in there, and if you're messing around and stuff, that stuff's going to get stirred up in the air and you don't want to get sick. So it's a good thing to cover, you know, your mouth and your nose and things like that, and just kind of not have to deal with that potential sickness, okay? And along that same lines is, if you're going to be in dark buildings, you know, eye protection, I've got my sunglasses I wear all the time, but if you're going to go inside of a building, having a clear pair so you can still see what's going on with your headlamp, and sunglasses inside of a building obviously is not a good idea. So I think this is something everybody should kind of throw in there, even if you've already got your sunglasses. Now, if you have prescription lenses that are auto darkening, that will be an option too. All right, now next up I have, this is a collapsible water container. This is an older Nalgene. This is it says 96 ounce up to this line. And it has a wider bottom. I don't know how much 96 ounces is. It looks like it's probably about a half a gallon. So these things are pretty tough. If you found some good potable water, you could bring that back with you. I suggest trying to be near a creek or something, some kind of free-flowing stream that you could pull water at. But if you really had to, these are pretty cool. They're pretty tough too. They're made pretty well. You know, Nalgene makes some pretty good stuff. So it'll work until it don't work, I guess, you know. But that's just kind of an optional thing that I sort of threw in there. Now, nitrile gloves. You might have to touch something nasty. You might have to drag a body out of the way to get to something really good. You don't know. So I keep at least one pair of these with you, probably 2 or 3. They don't take up a whole lot of room. They squish down pretty good. Some people are allergic to latex. Go nitrile. You're good to go. Contractor bags. There's 2 reasons I say to carry this, and I'll get to one later, but, well, actually, I'll get to it now. The style of pack you have, you might not be able to get a ton of stuff in it. These things are really big. You might come across, I don't know, some clothing, some linens, or some blankets or something that have been untouched by rodents, look pretty clean, something you might need. You could throw them in here, and it'd be a light hand carry, you know, on the way back to wherever you're staying at, your house, your camp, whatever. Contractor bags are awesome. You could throw this thing down and lay on it on something disgusting to get to something else if you're really going nuts, you know, scavenging. So they take up no room at all. They're lightweight and they are super awesome. And there's just a ton of uses for these things. So, I mean, you can carry water in it if you had to, whatever. Also, they could double as a rain poncho. No reason why you shouldn't have at least one of these in every style of pack that you have, whether it be a scavenger bag, get home bag, inch bag, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Okay. This is an 11-in-1 screwdriver. Okay. It's got different kinds of bits in it and nut drivers options on the inside here. You might have to open something up. This is a Klein. I think these things are around 10, 12 bucks and they're really good, guys. I used one for almost the first 2 years. I was an electrician, so until I went to something else. But these are just good little handy things to have. I keep one of these on my desk at the house. You know, us electricians, we like our Klein tools. So I would heavily consider something like this, especially for the price. That way you don't have to, if you got your multi-tool, yeah, these come with screwdrivers, okay? And I actually added some more screwdrivers in mine and took the scissors out. But this one that comes on it with the little removable bit, this is okay for smaller stuff. All right, but really, I mean, you're gonna bend this thing if you go too hard on it. So these multi-driver screwdrivers, they're pretty good. And if you run across, you know, some more bits, they will fit in here. It's a 1/4-inch hole, so. But this thing, honestly, if you don't go nuts with it, it probably lasts you forever. So I highly recommend everybody have like a screwdriver. It doesn't take that much room in the pack. So an all-weather pad and pen, because you might find something that you can't take back and you want to plot a route or draw out where it's at, some kind of map or something, or just take notes. You want to be able to come back and find what you're looking for. Now, these have the standard lines, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's got the little dotted lines, so it also works as a graph paper, which works really well for that type of thing. I surveyed a little bit for about 6 months, and we use graph paper to, you know, plot out the shape of a house and different things like that. So you could draw out a warehouse on here and make a map to a certain location inside of a building if you wanted to, and you would have that. And it's all weather, so if it gets wet, it's fine. I will say the Right in the Rain pads seem to be pretty good. Their pens kind of suck. They're just, I don't know. I like these big pens that have regular ink in them, not the gel kind. They don't fade. So, and one other thing too, I'm probably going to forego this just because I have the bolt cutters, but these lineman's pliers are excellent wire cutters, and it's a big beefy pair of pliers, and they call this an electrician's hammer because we do use it to beat on things quite a bit. This will be a good thing to have. They're a little heavy, not too bad, but they're a little heavy. It's the heaviest thing on my tool belt. I'll go ahead and give you that. But I got the bolt cutters, so if I had to cut a little wire for something, I'll probably just use that. And anything smaller, I mean, my multi-tool's got wire cutters inside of it, so I cramped that in there. You know, so I've got big wire and I've got small wire, so I'm not going to carry that, but it is an option if you've already got that. So, all right, now I want to get into pry bars. Now give me 1 second. I'm going to bring some stuff over here because I've got a lot of pry bars. All right, guys, so your pry bar is going to be one of your primary tools that you're going to have with you, okay? But when you're selecting a pry bar, you want to make sure that it's going to be handy, accessible, and easy to carry with you, okay? Unless that's the only kind of weapon you got, then maybe you want to carry one of the big 3 or 4 foot pry bars. I've got one of those, but I don't have it on the table right now because I didn't feel like including that in the video. I don't think a lot of people are going to be choosing that option when we possibly still have firearms and other things available, okay? Plus, you've already got probably your machete, you know, in this bag that's so long. But anyway, so I've got all kinds of pry bars here. This thing is from CountyCom, this little, I love this thing. It's like, I call it one of my desk tools, okay? I keep it in my desk. It's called a widgie bar. It's got a little nail puller, but I wrapped it in leather, so that's pretty much useless now. I just use it to do little prying things. You might want to throw that in your pocket, but it's not going to be, you know, some kind of a life-saving tool. I just thought it looked neat, right? It is a good little tool, though, and you can get those in titanium. So, looking at smaller pry bars, you've got these little things that you get at Lowe's, and they work great for pulling out nails and maybe bumping up a window when it's stuck. It's been painted, the seal's been painted for years and years or whatever, working in old houses and things. And along the same lines, this one here, this little flat bar. Guys, if you want to carry something like this, go ahead. It's not going to get you very far. I could probably bend this one with my hands. This is a good little tough tool, but you have no leverage, okay? It's just not long enough. Now, I use one of these just about every day. These things are thin and they are tough. And the way that head is shaped on there and the way this kickbacks, you can get a lot of leverage on a short bar with these, okay? I mean, they are tough. This is a Vaughn, it's made in America. I like stuff that's made in America. It's got a nail puller on it. You could probably push up a window, maybe a door that's not as strong. You could, you know, get a little bit of play in that door with this thing. Guys, these are really, really good pry bars, okay? But you got to think, how are you going to pack it, all right? The edges are sharp. You don't want to stick that down in your pack and it wear a hole in your pack while you're walking, then your pack's no good, okay? Strapping on the outside, say you got some of this molly webbing or whatever, or not the molly webbing, but you can't turn it this way because it's going to rub on your pack and wear a hole from the outside. You can't turn it this way because it's going to do it on the top. So you might want to make yourself a little cover, like a sheath that goes on each end. It seems like a lot of work to me, okay? It's a super awesome bar, and it's flatter than, say, a crowbar, okay? So you can get this into smaller cracks and things, and that's good. I really like this pry bar. I love these things. I use them all the time, but probably not going to go with that, okay? Now, I like this. It's about, I don't know, maybe a 2-foot crowbar. I got this at Walmart. It's made in America too, believe it or not. Little blue crowbar. It's not, the edges are duller, okay? I could put this in a pack, maybe upside down, really not worry about it. Maybe after years and years of scavenging, it might wear a hole. This thing's tough. It's heavy enough and hefty enough that you could smack somebody with it if you had to, and it's going to put a hurting on them. I really like this little crowbar, okay? So about a 18-inch to 2 foot, I think is a pretty good length. It'll fit down in this pack, you know, or on the outside of the pack, and I could actually probably, yeah, I could work it in that molly and turn it around this way if I wanted to. Let it hang just below the pack. You can see that. And it'll be out of the way. Hopefully don't rub my leg or something. So I think this is a better option than the flat bar. You might want the flat bar, but do you want to carry the flat bar? Okay. Here's a smaller version of a crowbar. This is a good one too. Super strong. Same thing applies as the larger crowbar, but you just don't have that leverage. Okay. I mean, you got to be pretty daggum strong to take something that's about, I don't know, 12 to 15 inches and wrench something really tough open with it. Okay. Nice little pry bar. It just doesn't get used much. I like it a lot, but just doesn't do a whole lot, okay? Now, you can be a cool guy, like everybody on Etsy and YouTube, and you can get you one of these cheap Pittsburgh things from Harbor Freight. This is about a, I don't know, 2-footer or so. And you take there was a plastic handle on here. I'm going to make one too. And you bust it with a hammer or mini sledge and get that off of there. Sand this off. Put you some some red or blue Loctite on there, wrap you some paracord around it, make yourself a handle. I do like this because it's sleek, it's slender. You can get a good bit of leverage out of it. It's maybe 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch to 3/4 thick. you're going to get a pretty good amount of leverage on that. I did see, I read somewhere where a guy busted one of these, or his nephew did. His nephew weighed about 250 pounds, and they were working on a car, and he pried on it, and he broke it. He snapped it. So one thing to consider, if you know your limitations with your tools, you won't break your tools. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, like in the situation where you'd be using this pack. So I haven't wrapped this up. Sorry, I wanted to do that for you guys. I just haven't had time. But anyway, make it look cool with the handle and everything. But anyway, that's one way to go. They got different sizes of these at Harbor Freight if you want to go that route. Now you've got something that's, I think this thing's like 80 bucks. Somebody gave this to me a long time ago. A friend of mine did. This is called the Dead On tool. It is a demolition tool. It's got a dull blade here for drywall ripping. It's got the hammer claw. It's got the hammer head. It's got like a 2x4 straightener with teeth in it. I mean, it does all kinds of stuff. Nail puller. It's even got, there's a bottle opener on it somewhere. I can't remember where it's at. Of course it does, you know. Oh, the hook in the top of the hammer is a bottle opener. It's got this flange spike that doubles as a multi-wrench and nail puller. I mean, you could really just tear something up with this thing. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this thing is heavy. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 6-8 pounds, okay? You can look it up if you want to. It's a pretty cool tool. Maybe something you want to keep in your truck, but your truck might not be running, so we're not talking about that. We're talking about stuff that'll fit in a pack, okay? Pretty neat little thing here, but heavy as all get out. So, if you want my opinion, probably going to go with the old school crowbar shorty. So, I know I can put it in my pack without damaging my pack. I can put it on the outside, and I know I can get pretty good leverage on this thing, and I could beat planks off of a shed if I had to with this thing. So, all right, now, last thing I want to talk about is pack options, okay? Now, right here I'm going to do a separate video on this bag. I've had this one for a while. This is the Maxpedition Falcon 2. Now, you guys, if you watch my channel, you know I like the Pygmy Falcon 2 a lot as like a day pack, get home bag. This one's a little bit bigger. This is I think it's a 25-liter pack. These things are great for organizing, so you can use the admin section of this bag to you put your screwdrivers and things in, pins, whatever else, tools. You've got up here for your quick grab stuff, headlamp, binoculars, you know, whatever else, fixed blade knife. You know, it's got another section here, which is basically a concealed carry compartment with the Velcro in it. You could use these magazine carriers to put the handles of your bolt cutters in if you don't want them jostling around, whatever. I say you put your longer tools like your crowbar and your bolt cutters in this one. That would be good. The problem with this style of bag, these clamshell style bags, is you kind of got to do a lot of work to get into them with all the straps and things, okay? Yeah, you can hold the grab handle here and hold it like this, and you can stuff stuff into it, okay? But you've got this like mesh compartment that may get in your way. You've got this water bladder stretchy compartment here that might get in your way. If you're cramming stuff off a shelf into a bag, yes, you can make it work. And this is what I have at the moment. But for this, guys, it helps to organize your tools. But if you're scavenging for supplies, I would look for say like your standard backpacking bag that has the open top with the cinch cord on it. You know, and if you don't use the whole bag, you can push it down, get all the air out of it, cinch it tight, throw your floppy compartment over the top of it there, and go with that, okay? You can go on eBay and you can get a military surplus duffel bag with the shoulder straps on it, anywhere from 20 to 30 bucks all day long. Guys, if you can sew some pockets to the outside of that thing and put your tools on the outside, that way you got a giant stuff sack that you can hold in your hand, rake stuff into, throw it on your shoulders and go, okay? One other thing that I'm still trying to work out in my head how to do that is to have a bag sort of like that, like the cheap military surplus bag that you can throw on your back, and you can put all your supplies and things that you scavenge in that, but have a two-tier system, okay? So have your tools on your person, not a tool belt, you know, because that's going to be clunky, but some other kind of way, maybe a chest rig or something. And if somebody gets after you or something, you got to ditch the supplies that you just found. Maybe it's an offering to leave you alone. You could throw that cheap bag down you still got your gear and your tools with you, and you can take off. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at now. And like I said, these Maxpedition bags, they are tough and they are great for organization and things like that. But as far as scavenging, I'm not going to be able to get a whole lot of canned food in this. And you can get bigger bags by them, but it's really just more compartments, okay? So honestly, guys, your standard backpacker hiking bag is probably going to be a better option. You might have your tools jumbled around in there, you know, and they've got some pockets on the outside. But for what we're talking about, it's kind of like you want something in between. So I'm working on sort of a two-tier system. I'm trying to figure that out in my head, and I will give you guys an update when I figure that out, okay? All right, guys, so I hope this video gives you some good ideas and things to look at. And like I said, as always, if you see something I'm doing and you found a better way to do it, please let me know, because this is something I'm always thinking about. I'm always working on these kinds of things. I love doing my pack videos, guys. It's just something that's on my mind all the time, okay? But anyway, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe, guys. We're trying to make it to 1,000 here. We're not too far away, you know, but it's going to take me some time, I think. But anyway, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time, all right?